Hello! We're live. And welcome back to Through
Did it?
Imperial Eyes. And you can see us now. I'm your host, Braydon Leadbetter.
I'm your co-host, Jackson Daleen.
Jackson, look at us. We're doing things. Look at us. Well, first off, today is Book of Boba Fett Day. Happy Book of Boba Fett Day, everybody.
Happy Book of Boba Fett Day.
And it feels like it took a very long time to get here. Do you agree?
It's a little surreal that like we are here, you know?
Yeah.
And I had that thought watching it too today, was just like, wow, like we're here. Like we did it. We waited that long.
we did the thing. We're doing things.
Yeah,
here.
right.
But I think just so we can give some people a little bit of time to get in here, what is some things in the Book of Boba Fett, expectation-wise, that you had going in before we actually get to the actual episode?
Before it all came and is here? What? Yeah. Just for this episode or just for the show in general?
I guess for the show, yeah.
Okay. I don't know, because obviously we just have this first episode and there's more to come, but there are things that were shown and, you know, kind of given in this that I wasn't it looks like it's going to be setting up plots of things that I think we haven't seen from stuff before. Whereas I think like for starters, I didn't expect the kind of I guess I expected the Sarlacc thing and just getting it all out to I don't know. We got more focus on it than I necessarily anticipated.
You think so?
I thought
was expecting I thought we were a lot of this show being the Book of Boba Fett. I was expecting almost like here's what you were missing. Here's what you wanted, and I think that was kind of what we're getting. And I think we're also getting. I think we're going to end up seeing some flashbacks to like maybe stuff that happened like in the Empire.
Yeah.
Like Empire Strikes Back days. I think we're going to see a little bit more, just like kind of filling in some gaps that like a lot of the fans really want filled in.
Yeah. And you know what? I kind of agree with that, because right off the bat, the Camino shots when he's in the beginning that was something that I was like, ooh, I was like,
are we going to Camino?
Oh, it was like, I know. Yeah. So I hope we see a lot more with that. And I don't know. I think this episode met a lot of the expectations that I was expecting for the first episode, but overall for the show,
Hold on, I have something really, really important to put on screen here. Oh yeah, Boba D's nuts.
Boba D's nuts.
Thanks, Maggie.
I don't know. Like, there's a lot that I think we're gonna get from this, and for the show, my expectations are pretty open. Just hanging out.
Yeah, it definitely has like. It feels like, especially with even like the fonts they're using, in like a lot of the stuff, it feels just like a Mandalorian spinoff, which is
it definitely does. Yeah.
Because like even with the credits, you see like all the concept art and stuff. But let's kind of just go from the beginning and kind of talk ourselves throughout the episode. So kind of opening up here, we get this like abandoned looking Jabba's palace. And it kind of goes through, and like we end up seeing Boba in this Bacta tank, which is very Luke Skywalker. There's like a shot that essentially mirrors that shot from Empire. But what did you think whenever you get these flashbacks of Camino, you get these flashbacks, this shot straight out of Attack of the Clones?
Yeah.
But once we're in the Sarlacc, the guts in the slime. What did you think when you saw that?
I actually was really glad. I was really glad that they like picked it right up from him being Sarlacc.
I was afraid they were gonna cut to just Boba comes out of the sand.
Yeah.
But I'm glad like we got to see the guts.
Yeah, and I almost wish we got a little more like of him fighting his way out rather than just like burned his way out and then crawled up.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm really glad that we got to be inside the Sarlacc. I should have worn my hoodie; it's in the washer, but I got a new hoodie that says Boba Fett.
Oh yeah,
Sarlacc Survivor on it.
Nice.
It's like, a classic. No, I thought it was really cool. Why is a stormtrooper in there?
I don't know, but I love it.
Like, it's cool, but I guess, like, how long does the Sarlacc take to digest things?
Well, what C-3PO says, you get digested for 1,000 years. So, I also kind of loved that he used the flamethrower.
Yeah. No, I like that.
No, go ahead.
I like that Boba's using gadgets. I like that we're seeing him like use his full arsenal. Go ahead, I didn't mean to.
And dude, we got the little knee missiles. I love the knee missiles, dude. You can see like whenever he gets suited up later on, you can see like putting them on. Like, oh, there's the knee missiles they're talking about in the Boba Fett doc. Yeah, dude. Well, kind of going on here. Sorry, I can't take this seriously. What the heck is a Boba Fett? So let's kind of talk. Let's go off of. Here we go. Perfect segue. RFB. Here we go. The Jawas were the thieves, as they were, of course, because I did have the question in Mandalorian of how the heck did they get a hold of Boba's armor? Like, he wouldn't have just like sold it.
They just ganked him. Like they just pulled up.
They just start like molesting him and taking all of his stuff. It's like, yep, those are Jawas for you.
Jawas.
What was your reaction to that moment?
I was thinking of like I'm blanking on his name from Mandalorian. Who gets Boba's armor?
Cobb Vanth.
Yeah. Cobb Vanth, thank you. I'm thinking of when he was just like, I just saw it on the Jawa's barge, and you're thinking the whole time like, did Boba get in some fight? Like, did something happen? And it's like, nah, he was sleeping. Like, he was just out in the sand, and
he was caught slipping, dude.
The hit the Jawa gave him, and they all start laughing. I thought that one got me.
I love whenever like he grabbed the Jawa's ankle. I was like, oh, is he gonna do it?
He's gonna go crazy.
Yeah. I thought all of this like Tatooine kind of flashback stuff was great because like he literally looks like this. I can kind of tie this back, but I started watching The Matrix last night.
Nice.
It kind of looks like when Neo comes out of the goo in like his womb. He kind of looks like that.
Boba Fett in the Sarlacc.
Yeah. But kind of continuing on, I didn't expect Jabba's barge to still be there, but like wrecked, like in ruins.
I thought that was a really cool set piece.
I thought that was cool.
The shot of the Jawa's, trailer thing pulling up. I loved like the background of Jabba's barge just destroyed in the background.
Yeah. And this is like, if you have a projector or very big screen to watch this episode on, do it, because a Christmas gift that me and my fiance got was a projector for our basement. We just bought a new house. We have the beginnings of a home theater going on in our basement, and watching this on like what seems like a movie theater size screen in all of these like vast shots of Tatooine, they're so cool.
Yeah,
it's so cool to see.
Yeah.
It's like experiencing Star Wars how it's supposed to, like very, very OG trilogy feeling.
Large and in front. Yeah, that's awesome. I dig that. That's really cool.
It looks great. It looks so good. But kind of going on here, do you think how much power do you think right now Boba has on Tatooine? Like, I know right now people aren't taking him very seriously.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing that I want to know more is, do people know that Boba's taken over the Empire, and do people know who Boba is?
Yeah.
Like, because it seemed like the Twi'lek, cantina owner, I don't know if we got to know her name. Did we? Did she say it?
No, I don't remember. I don't think. I think they said it, but like it's not.
This is a side anecdote, but did you notice that the music that was playing when they walked in was a variation of the Cantina music?
Was it?
The dude playing guitar was playing the melody that did.
I didn't notice that.
It's slightly different.
I did notice our boy Max Rebo.
Yeah.
Which, if you want to listen to our Imperial Cantina Return of the Jedi, that's all we talk about for like 2 hours is Max Rebo.
But to answer your question, it felt kind of awkward. Like, I don't know, there was the scene of them talking, like Boba had this charm, like this. There was just this style, like the way he kind of was talking to her was very like, "Hey, like I'm the new man in charge," and I almost wonder if that character is going to come back as like an antagonist, and it's kind of to more represent people who really don't take Boba seriously.
To me, it felt a little bit Solo, a Star Wars story, like just that vibe.
Yeah.
I love how the guy comes back with their helmets like clean, and it just has like a bucket of credits in there. I thought that was funny, but kind of tracking back a little bit, talking about these people coming to like pay their respects to Boba, and that weird Twi'lek dude who who's like they're like on behalf of the mayor and like wants Boba to pay him.
Was it the mayor of Mos Espa?
I think it was.
Am I tripping and thinking that Mos Espa was the place where Cobb Vanth is from? Or is that a different Mos?
No, I think it is a different Mos. There's like
Mos Espa's like it's the capital of Tatooine, right?
Yeah. A very, very, very important thing here. Red Greedo bad. Just so you know. Red Greedo bad.
Red Greedo bad. We were talking about it before stream, but someone on Twitter had revealed that the Red Greedo, the Red Rodian, was voiced by Sam Witwer, who played, Starkiller, Maul, and the animated stuff, Palpatine as well, and all the animated stuff. But that was fun little Easter egg.
It's like, who would know that though?
Right. Well, it was someone who was a friend with them that was just like, my friend did this, but I still think that's so funny that slipped it in.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of talk about a little more about this scene. I think it's so cool that people call him Lord Boba.
Yeah, Lord Fett. I thought that was
Lord Fett. Yes, that's what it is. I'm just like, yeah, that's the fan base right now.
Nails.
calling him Lord Fett, because man, we're gonna see some really cool stuff in this show. But it's kind of throwing it back to that. I just keep thinking of this Twi'lek guy.
Do you think that this Twi'lek person who represents the mayor is also connected with the cantina owner, or do you think those were unconnected scenes?
They are Twi'leks, so I don't know. But he did say, but right before he left, he said something about something along the lines of, like you're gonna regret saying that, but I'll pass the message along to him anyway.
Or he was like, I would not be surprised if more delegations came.
Yeah, and I was like, what's going on? I guarantee you there's like a whole like league of crime lords in Tatooine that Boba doesn't know about yet. And they're gonna start confronting him.
Well, I wouldn't even say just Tatooine. I think it's a league
just in the underground of
that
the galaxy.
Essentially took over after Jabba's death that Bib wasn't aware about.
Yeah, because Bib was kind of
just there.
Yeah, and he seemed like, being all fat, and he probably just dealt locally with Tatooine, but also Tatooine.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that kind of pans out.
So, do you think that the assassins that attack are related to the mayor? Or...
Well, let's talk about that. Which I think this episode obviously screams Robert Rodriguez in the style of action that we saw, and I just loved the Assassin's Creed kind of parkour stuff of them like
I like that rooftops.
Too. Yeah. And I think this episode is also heightened my love for Fennec Shand. I think Fennec Shand's going to end up being a really cool and probably a fan favorite character coming out of this show. Because she kind of has been taken the back burner a little bit. I mean, she showed up in Bad Batch, but she was there for like an episode. Kind of, we don't really get in deep with her character very much. She's usually just there to do cool stuff on screen.
I think that's intentional, that they've been building her appearances to either this or something else, but I would expect this,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What did you think of the action in this episode?
The parkour chase scene to the fight of Fennec and the last two assassins I thought were really good. I kind of have this thought with The Mandalorian as well, is that a lot of the combat's just kind of clunky stage combat, which isn't bad. It's not that it looks bad and it's not that it looks fake, but it's very much like the big gestured push and the block and the hit. It's that fight of the assassins jumping them. It felt like that, but the thing I took away out of it was Boba kind of got his butt whooped. Boba, he didn't
this whole
do well
episode,
in this fight. Yeah.
I think they're doing that on purpose because I think they're really going to show the vulnerability of Boba throughout this show. Yeah. And I really liked the scene of him, like all of the moments of him trying to escape the Sand People.
I loved the costume design of the Sand People this episode. Absolutely loved it.
It isn't just kind of like how they did in Revenge of the Sith, where they like all have the same default costume. Mm-hmm. They give them all like their own kind of like personality. Yeah. And I just want to see, I was waiting for the shot. I was waiting for the shot that Boba walks up to one of them and rips off their robe and puts it on him. Because like he has like a black sand person robe on.
Yeah. And I think we'll see that in the next episode, is him being welcomed more. I think so? They'll teach him how to fight with the Gaddafi stick or whatever, the club. But I think they'll teach him how to fight with all that, because I think that's the thing that canon Boba is not going to be good at, is hand-to-hand combat, is melee combat. And we saw that when he was running away and the Tuskens made him fight the one with the actual staff and he just had the little stick. I think that's going to be kind of a big part, is that they're going to teach Boba to adapt to the land. But my question is why has he kind of lost that? Because when we saw him in Mandalorian, he was mean green fight machine, just was tearing stormtroopers up. He gets the armor back and he's got all his gadgets and he's still just this absolute machine. But in this episode, in the current present, he's kind of mixed in his head. He's he's not as tough anymore, in the sense of Fennec's like, do you want me to kill him? And Boba's like, meh. And I get that he's trying to do the whole,
he intends to rule with respect,
but it's like
Jabba ruled by fear.
It's like, even when Boba needed to I say use fear, but it's like when Boba needed to turn it on, he didn't. And my question is that a choice, or is something else going on? And that's kind of what the back to, he has the line to Fennec is, the dreams are back again. Well, the dreams obviously left then, but what sparked the dreams to come back?
I think probably being back on Tatooine and like just being in that atmosphere.
It's PTSD. It's the sand, man. It just does that to people.
He doesn't like sand, dude. Well, kind of moving on here. So they do visit like this homestead, which looks suspiciously like the Lars homestead.
I thought it was Kenobi's.
I thought it was Kenobi's too. But it like very much mirrors the Lars homestead. And I was like, wait a second. Is this like did somebody come do some renovations? It kind of looked like it. But that begs the question, that whole scene where that Rodian is, or the Red Greedo, for the technical term, for all you hardcore Star Wars fans, is like digging in the sand and like they find like the water pouches or whatever, and then that big monster thing doesn't have a name yet.
Goro.
Goro. But do you think that because remember we talked about it's like a month ago maybe that leaked concept art of Boba riding that monster thing. We were like, ooh, that's cool. What do you think that was it?
I'd honestly have to see that picture again, but
yeah, here, let me see if I can find it.
I don't know. Because they kind of talked about it being like a rancor, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if I still think that's gonna happen. I don't
see if I
know
can
if
pull this up on the stream. It comes to us via Star Wars Newsnet, and I think it's hard to say. It is very hard to say because the concept art is so. It is essentially a rancor, like it is. But he does this exact like pose on the rancor. Here, I'll show it. Spoilers for anybody who doesn't want to see this, so click away for a second.
don't look.
It's not very spoilery because it's cool. But here's this. Okay,
so yeah,
that's the concept art we saw a couple months ago, and I don't know. I mean, it could be cool to see him, defeat more beasts in this show.
I wonder if like because the monster he killed in this one was very reminiscent of Leia killing Jabba. That's what I thought. It was like, ooh, nice reference there, Boba. I'm glad
I said that to Emma.
Glad you saw that
first
person.
thing I said. I was like, yeah, that's literally shot for shot what happened to Jabba. But yeah, man, that red Greedo.
Yeah, rip that dude. You know what? I'll say about this show, it did a really good job at giving us action that felt like it was going to be gory, but it obviously wasn't. Disney's good at cutting it away, but there were some hits that happened that I was just like, oh, it was like, dude,
for a second there, I thought they were gonna get a little rated R with.
I thought he was gonna rip that.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna see it happen. I was like, dang.
Yeah. So I can only expect if they're gonna kind of expand that, and maybe we won't get the gore, but we'll get the intensity of it. And it's like, how cool are you gonna make it? How big are you gonna go for Boba?
Yeah. And did you also notice the? It's not really an Easter egg, but Jabba, Jabba, Jabba. Boba mentions Anchorhead.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's like a callback to New Hope, isn't it?
Well, and I like that. I love seeing more Tatooine culture. Because you had made a point a while ago that you were tired of seeing Tatooine all the time. And I get that to a degree of if they're just going to be on Tatooine doing Tatooine stuff, but I like knowing the things happening on Tatooine. I like seeing the Tusken side of it. I like seeing the actual cities and the culture of it. And I hope that this expands on that while also expanding on like different planets, giving us different areas and stuff. And
Tatooine is such a big planet. Mm-hmm. I want to see some parts of Tatooine that we have never seen before.
Yeah.
Because I think we've only seen sand dunes and like cities made of sandstone.
And the monster at the end of this episode gives me hope that we will see more of things that we haven't ever seen.
Well, for a second I thought, wait, did they just find a freaking another crate dragon? Like, what's going on here?
I thought it was a rancor at first. I was like, he's just chilling in the sand. Like,
yeah. What about our boys, the Gamorrean guards? I
love them.
I'm not gonna lie.
They're upskirts.
I'm not gonna lie. They kind of look like Power Ranger villains from the early 2000s show.
Well, and I love that they're keeping with like the cheesy practicalness of it. That
of course.
That like in Return of the Jedi, they were a little more beefed up, so like it made sense that they'd be kind of intimidating. There wasn't a lot of them, but I love seeing like modern filmmaking and still giving that like that cheesy 80s practicalness, and it's just like it's more of the nostalgia.
Yeah, and you even see that with that monster thing that he fights. Like it's CG, but like the way they animate it is like almost very stop motion, like almost like it kind of pays tribute to like the animation of
Well, and
the
like
Rancor and
when
stuff.
Boba's choking it out and it's the shot of the chain like pulling on it, they
Hmm.
make his neck look like that costume leather. Like
Yeah,
they give
yeah,
it that kind of consistency where, yeah,
it's very
um,
much an homage to um,
just classic.
that style, like the whole '80s style of Star Wars that we've come to be accustomed to,
Yeah.
in especially in this period of time in the universe. But kind of moving on a little bit here, do you think we're going to be getting any more surprise? Because we didn't really get many surprise characters in this episode, besides maybe some fun little like cameos and callbacks like Max Rebo, that kind of thing. Do you think we're going to be seeing anyone else pop up in this show that will be like, oh, hey?
Whoa. Yes. Yes. I'm still of the notion that Kira is going to show up.
I don't know, man.
So, all right. So check it. So the scene where they go, the little Tuscan boy takes them to the hut that's, not the Lars or not Kenobi's hut, but the bad guys there draw whatever symbol that is,
Mhm.
and that kind of plays into, is it a new syndicate? Is it someone trying to also kind of take power? I think that Kira's role in it is going to be as like a last remnant of Crimson Dawn, and it's more if anything it'll be like an Ahsoka style cameo where it's just one episode and maybe she's not even in it that much, but I think Kira is going to teach Boba something, be
The
it a
only
leadership
thing,
skill or whatever.
the only concern that I have about that is I don't quite know if they can afford. Um,
Yeah.
what is her name again?
uh the
I'm
one
blanking. The
the
one
one
from
with the
the girl from
dragons.
Game of Thrones, Amelia Clark. I don't know why I
Amelia
was
Clark.
blanking on that. I don't can they afford her in this first season? Do you think? Because like I guarantee you, she's asking for like Game of Thrones type of money right now for shows.
Well, she hasn't shied away from returning to Star Wars, right? Like
Oh no,
she wants,
she's said that she wants to.
and I think that since while this is the first season, this is still the second show, and we know what I think it's that since they got away with the stuff they did in Mandalorian season 2, they can keep doing things like that.
Mhm.
So I'm not saying it's like expected, but I I would be shocked to find out the reason is because they couldn't do it rather than they didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, and even if it is just I expect it to be a cameo. I don't think Luke Skywalker is going to show up at all. I think they may
I don't
talk
want him
about
to.
him. No,
I don't
I don't
need
want
him
him
to.
to.
We got him in Mandalorian. I don't think that the technology is up to snuff quite yet for us to see a deep fake for
More.
more than a
Yeah.
cameo.
Yeah.
Like we just don't. It's just not possible right now. But something I think would be cool, and Mitchell just put this in the chat. I think Rex would be cool, and I see that as a very strong possibility that we will be seeing Rex.
Why and how?
I don't know, but I think it would be cool, especially because you could get some rebellion involved,
Yeah.
maybe
New
in
Republic
this
stuff.
some New Republic stuff, and maybe it's just old Rex kind of being grumpy.
Yeah.
We see like the bearded grumpy Rex.
I would like Bosk to make a cameo.
For a second, I thought that was Bosk. For like a split second, in whenever they were all coming in his
Yeah.
palace, and I was like, "Is that Bosk?" Oh, it's not Bosk.
I hope that they need help and they end up calling on Bosk, and like the
That'd be cool.
Trandoshans end up like being cool allies with Boba.
They've kind of figured out the live action Trandoshan look.
They have. It looked really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But one popular thing that I've seen a lot of reactions to this episode is a lot of people think it felt a little underwhelming. Do you feel that you like the episode was a little short?
Short in the sense of like I don't know. I don't know because I'm thinking about it and it's like yes and no. Like obviously I know that they're going to be telling the rest of it, pretty easily. I think with all the backstory stuff, I bet you we'll be done with all that by next episode.
You think so?
Because, like, what else does Boba do? Like, he tries to get his armor back, but, he can't. So I think there needs to be, they establish why he can't. I guess he's had his ship this whole time. So maybe he hasn't been on Tatooine the entire 5 years. You know, he uses it as like a home base, but it's like he just does that for his scheming. He's just trying to
How would
let it
he
all
get
play
off planet then?
All right. Well, there's a shot of the trailer where he's in the area that Slave One's in, and he's in the nomad garb. Unless they explain the ship is broken and he has to fix it, he gets it fixed in time for Mandalorian. So I almost think that he's had it this whole time, that it's just like he's more sticking to Tatooine to try to get the armor back, and maybe he doesn't know who has it until it's more time of Mandalorian. Like he figures out it's Cobb Vanth, and then like I don't know, maybe a month later Mando shows up and Boba's like, well, I guess I gotta chase this silver dude now and his little green friend.
Yeah, I think to me it feels like his time in between coming out of the Sarlacc pit and where we meet him in Mando season 2, I think it would be so kind of boring and not really like. I think it's just him surviving on Tatooine. That's what I feel like. But if they want to prove me wrong, I am all for that.
And I almost wonder if they will add like a subplot that takes place during that time frame that will like help build the plot to the present day. It's like maybe while Boba is on Tatooine during these 5 years, he gets involved with somebody, gets work with somebody who ends up being maybe the leader of this new bad guy gang, or maybe is someone who, will come back and I helped you and now you're this crime boss, like you need to help me kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're definitely in for like that Star Wars underworld vibe. And I'm very excited for that. One thing I definitely agree with, I also wish the episodes were an hour. That would be very nice. And I think that's what it felt like. This episode kind of ended abruptly to me. Like I was like, oh wait, hold on. Is this the end?
Yeah,
because it's right after he drinks that one like water.
It's just like
pouch?
That's the last shot. Yeah,
I don't know. And I was like, oh, they're gonna end it here, aren't they? And then boom, credits. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I at least like that we have like a minimum 40 minutes. Like I would rather, I'm glad that at least is something.
Oh yeah, I think
long. But
do we know how many episodes this season's gonna be?
9.
Is it 8 or 9?
I think it's 9.
Okay, so yeah, I think we have a lot more room.
Right. That's kind of what I'm saying is like is first reactions. I can't really be too judgmental because like how much else are they going to give us?
Yeah.
So I'm not too hardcore with it, especially knowing that we'll get more. My question is how much of the back and forth will we go? Is that going to be a whole series thing, or is that just going to be by a couple episodes? I think it'll be by like episode 2 or 3 we'll be done with that.
I wanted to flashback even further.
You think?
I want it to. I don't think it will, but I want it to. I want to see some stuff in War of the Bounty Hunters and see some of that fun stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to, but man, wouldn't that be sick if we got like some snippets of like him with like Han and Carbonite and like the stuff he goes through, like in between getting Majabba.
That would be really cool to like give us the other bounty hunter cameos, Bosk, and you could throw in Dengar and IG-88, and it's like have all the cameos then to where
Mm-hmm.
the new stuff, the present day, you can introduce new characters, new kind of things with it. My question is how much of the world building will be new rather than remnants of the past? You know, will it be, you know, Jabba's syndicate becoming into Boba's fruition? Will it be Crimson Dawn become something? Will it be, are the Pikes still around? Are the Pikes
Or
doing their
like the
thing?
Black Sun.
Well, Maul ended the Black Sun. That was,
You don't know that.
I mean, like,
We thought Maul was dead. Remember what happened?
yeah, that's fair.
Um,
It headed a lot of people. That's for sure.
yeah, but
Um,
kind of wrapping up our final thoughts as a whole on this episode. What are some kind of other standout things we forgot to mention, or just some final thoughts on this episode?
um, trying to think.
Go on.
We've talked about everything that I have noticed. I hope to see Boba get his groove back. Um, and I want it I want it to be just a tad more ruthless, you know. Like I understand having to essentially have a PG-13 show, but play into that PG-13. Like just go hard with it. Like I just want Boba to go absolutely just
Dude, go
nuts
hard
with it.
R. Go hard R.
No,
Come on, don't be a coward.
but
And see some Boba Schlong, dude.
no. I do want Fennec and Boba to have a love interest, like a
I
romance.
don't. I don't need it.
I don't
It'll
even think
happen. It's gonna
I
happen,
don't
but I
think
don't need
it's
it.
gonna be like cheesy though. Like they're both such like independent characters that I think that their relationship is gonna be more of like an understanding rather than like
Like a
I can't be without you, Fennec. It's like I need you. It's more like I understand you and like you and I are life partners kind of thing. That's what I want their relationship to be.
like a Jabba and Bib.
No, not even that. Like that's what it is now. And I think
No, dude. Jabba and Bib were our first Star Wars LGBTQ plus couple. All right.
good. But what I'm saying is like they're both gonna share the throne.
Mm-hmm.
Like they like two thrones, you know, not
And I
one big
think
one.
that kind of feeds into Jabba. Not I keep saying Jabba instead of Boba for some reason.
It's the
Boba's
big chair.
Boba's ideal of ruling with respect and not fear.
Yes, I agree with that because I don't think it'll work. I
Mm,
don't think it'll work. And Fennec is kind of aware that there has to be some kind of grip.
yeah.
So I think if they realize that, you know, Boba can be in charge of, you know, making the final cuts, but Fennec is the person who goes out of her way to, you know, make sure the things that happen. Because how are you going to be a crime lord and not really be a crime person anymore?
How are you gonna be a crime lord and not be a crime lord?
Right.
Like,
Right.
um,
So yeah, I hope Boba learns like a lot of stuff from this. I hope that it shapes him into this new character that um that is interesting, that is fun. Because I guess for me is new Boba doesn't have enough remnants of old Boba in him,
yeah.
and it feels too different. So I feel like I need to see the lessons he's going to learn in order to quote unquote accept this new Boba. Not saying I don't accept it, but it's jarring to me right now. It's weird.
Yeah, I think it also has a lot to do with just the fact that Tem has gone so long without playing this character.
Yeah, for sure. For
And
sure.
like,
Oh yeah.
he's also never played Boba before until 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I think that's another reason why like something feels a little off, but you're not sure what it is. I think he'll really settle into it once we start going, and
Yeah,
I think we'll
I
really
agree.
settle into it.
I agree. And I think for me, I think a big thing that kind of sticks out with me is how lenient Boba is with his helmet now. Because
Yeah,
that was kind of his thing before, was to not take it off. Um so I am interested to see if they'll actually like talk about that. If that'll actually be like a story piece.
yeah. I mean, do you think we see Joe
Jobo.
Joe This whole thing is just going to be Jabba the Hutt, the Book of Jabba. Do you think we'll see Boba becoming like this anti-Mando, like kind of like this? He doesn't have all of these strict rules around like his
being
helmets
a Mandalorian,
and being a Mandalorian and that kind of thing.
Well, and I also think too, Mando, like Din will have a cameo, and I almost wonder if like Boba becomes like a kind of influence on Mando to start taking his helmet off more, you know?
Come on, all the kids
Come
are
on, Boba. Or come on, Din, take it off.
Yeah. I feel like if Din comes in, it's gonna be like whenever a celebrity comes in on a sitcom.
And everyone cheers.
He walks to the door and you just get, oh yeah. Yeah, I think it's gonna feel like that. He's gonna like wink at the camera, like, hey kids.
He's like, you guys need to see something cool, and he whips out the dark saber, and he's like, "Did you need this?"
Oh, he'll whip out the dark saber. All right, it's rated R.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. Well, I think that just about does it for our review of this episode. Jackson, unless you had anything else,
give me more Fennec Shan things,
dude. I'm wanting that Black Series.
I'm wanting that
Black Series hard.
I know both of them.
Well, cool. I think that's just about does it for us. And we'll be back next week. Next Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? We're probably going to be doing Wednesdays. Whenever, at this point, we promise these things and then something comes up in our lives and we can't do them. So next week sometime, we're going to be talking about episode 2.
Are they coming out just Wednesdays?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Unfortunately, I kind of missed the Friday releases.
I do too, but that's cool. It's whatever, I guess.
Well, cool. If you'd like to check us out on our socials, you can always follow us on our Instagram at Through Imperial Eyes Pod, and our Twitter at Imperial Eyes Pod, and then YouTube at Through Imperial Eyes Podcast. You just got to add the podcast in there, or else it's gonna take you to a Star Wars Rebels episode review for everybody. But Jackson, where can they find you?
I'm right here.
Dude.
You're on the live stream. You did it.
Dude.
No, you can find me on Twitter. If you don't follow me there, it's at Quackson Scaling. It's QUACKSON, and then scaling like the triangle. And then if you want to follow my photography Instagram, that's cool. I haven't really put anything on it. I'm working on a piece right now, but that's at Deleen_photography. It's DALEEN_photography. Braydon, what about you?
As always, you can find me under your bed. Just kidding. You can find me on my Instagram at braydonleadbetter and my Twitter at braydathlon. You can see what I'm watching, see what I'm reviewing on Letterboxd. It is at bledbetter, and see what I'm doing in my video life, my work life. See what I'm shooting at vat19 on YouTube. And don't forget, Jackson, to not be shy. Don't be shy.
Be shy.
Don't be shy. Leave that rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps out the show, and it lets us know that you like what we are doing. And also, don't forget what we're doing. Don't forget to subscribe to Spotify and all that kind of stuff if you don't have Apple Podcasts, because we know some of you don't have Apple products out there. Boo!
I have Apple products, but I still listen to it on Spotify.
You. And then, if you want to also leave us some voice messages, we just got a voice message on Anchor, I think, like last week, and it was just blank. So make sure you're checking out those.
Someone butt dialed us.
I think someone butt dialed us, dude. But if you would like to do that, we're always open, and we always show your voice on the show, and everyone will hear your beautiful voice and us talking about your questions. So if you want to do that, you can do that. But until next time and next week, when we're talking about some more Book of Boba Fett, may the Force be with you.